Hello friends, today I have taken a topic of history and it is a very important topic, that is the religious policy of Aurangzeb. Now, religious policy of Aurangzeb can be divided into two phases. The first phase from 1658 to 1679 and the second phase from 1679 up to his death or 1679 onwards, as you can say. We can firstly say in the first phase that he was more orthodox, whereas in the second phase we can say a bit more lenient. Now, as we know that he was an orthodox Sunni Muslim in one sense, we can now say the reforms that he introduced in the first phase of his religious policy from 1658 to 1679 were like first he banned Sijda. Now, what was Sijda? Sijda was actually prostration before the ruler. Now we have seen Sijda before also. Sijda was first introduced, Sijda and Paibos actually, was first introduced by Balban actually, where we have to kiss the emperor's feet in Paibos, and in Sijda, that was prostration before the ruler. Balban did that. But Aurangzeb actually abolished this one. Then Aurangzeb also forbade kalma. Now what is kalma? Kalma is actually Quranic verses. Now he forbade kalma on coins, that is to inscribe the Quranic verses on coins. He forbade that. Now why he did that? Because he thought that the coins may be trampled underfoot or may be defiled while passing from one hand to another. Then again he discontinued the festival of Nowruz. Now, why he discontinued the festival of Nowruz? First of all, what is Nowruz? Nowruz was a Persian festival. Now, Nowruz was again part of Balban, we can say, because he was the one who started it during the time of Delhi Sultanate. But then again, Nowruz is a Persian festival, and Aurangzeb somehow felt that it was a Zoroastrian practice and was done by the Safavid rulers of Iran. And very importantly, the rulers of Iran were Shias, and because of that Aurangzeb was a Sunni, so you can say that that was also a major thing to understand. That's why he actually abolished or discontinued the practice of Nowruz. Then again, we can, if we understand it, he appointed officials called muhtasibs. Now, what was the work of this muhtasibs? Muhtasibs were basically officials who actually overlooked the lives of the common people, that they were leading their lives accordance with Sharia or not, which is a very important thing, because he felt that the lives of the citizens should be led in accordance with Sharia. He also, the Muhtasibs also saw over the fact that these wine and other intoxicants like bhang was not consumed in public places. They also regulated gambling dens and etc. But they were given strict instructions by Aurangzeb not to instruct or interfere in the private lives of the citizens. But to much disbelief that these things, according to Italian traveler Manusi, he says that these rules were actually flouted upon and actually not taken seriously at all. Again, if we see that in 1669, Aurangzeb actually forbade singing in the court. Now, which is very important because singing in the court was prohibited, but instrumental music and royal band, which is of course Naubat, continued. So, very importantly, it is also one more important factor is there in the harem of Aurangzeb. Singing actually continued, but in instrumental music mainly continued in his court. Again, an interesting fact which the UPSC may point out is that largest number of Persian works on Indian classical music was done during the time of Aurangzeb, which is quite a surprising factor. Again, Aurangzeb was a proficient Veena player, as we all know. But still, he discontinued the weighing of emperor with golds and silvers, as we know that Akbar had introduced a system where the emperor would sit on one side of a, you can say, a platform, like this is an emperor, and on the other side golds and silvers will be given by the courtiers, and this will take place until and unless this weighing scale is, you can say, equal. So this practice was actually abolished by Aurangzeb. Then again, he again abolished the Jharoka Darshan. Now, what was this Jharoka Darshan? It was a simple that the emperor would come in the balcony and the courtiers will actually see him in the morning. So that was also abolished by Aurangzeb, as he said that it is one of a baseless, you can say, of his tradition. He forbade astrologers to make almanacs. But interesting fact is that the royal members of his house only flouted upon this and they made almanacs behind his back from these astrologers. Again, very importantly, he forbade the holy and the Muharram processions. And he also asked the clerks to use porcelain inkstands, porcelain inkstands instead of silver, instead of any other material, mainly the silver ones. The gold railings of Diwani Am were also replaced by him with lapis lazuli set on gold. Actually, mainly it was lapis lazuli which was mainly used now. Now these measures that he introduced, we can say from this that he was literally an orthodox person, and we can just conclude like that. But this is not the case. All the measures that he implemented here gives that he was having a puritanical frame of mind. But a very important thing is that some measures were taken due to financial crisis that he was facing, because he had actually abolished many cesses, like and also many duties, like the octroi duty on tobacco he actually abolished it in 1666, and many other things like transit duty on a large number of cesses also he had actually abolished. So you can say that this was also some of the measures to boost the financial condition of the empire. Very importantly, to promote trade in 1665, Aurangzeb actually what he did was reduce the duty on import of goods by Muslim traders. Now he reduced it from 5% to 2.5% and then to totally abolished it altogether. Then when he saw that this was having a, you can say, a adverse impact, because the Muslim traders now were using the Hindu goods, so what he did, he again reimposed it but kept it at 2.5%. So we can say that these first phase, we can say that Aurangzeb was actually very, we can say, orthodox on one hand, and again he took these measures because of the financial problems that the empire was actually facing. So very importantly, when we move to the second policy, or we can say the second phase of his policy, we will see that in the second phase of his policy, he continuously thought of having, we can say that a better, not a very narrow mind that we see in the first phase, but just a bit broader mind concept. For example, he called the Sharif of Makkah and asked him that alms that he was sending to him to be given to the poor people, were they being given properly? We also see that the Hindus actually increased in his administrative machinery. Again, we have always seen that in case of Aurangzeb, Aurangzeb was a person who is actually misunderstood in history to be a religious bygone, but that is not the case. But again, we have seen that Aurangzeb has taken measures which we can see that it simply creates a divide between the Hindus and Muslims. For example, in this case, as I said, the import duty, in this case, the Hindus had to give an import duty of 5%, whereas the Muslims were reduced considerably. So, these things actually created a division. And again, later on, when we see the Jagirdari crisis, which was one of the factors for the decline of Mughal emperor, we see that Aurangzeb, to be frank, can be blamed for one of these Jagirdari crisis, although we cannot say directly that it is he who is to blame, but one of the factors that led to Jagirdari crisis is that when he actually inducted the nobles or the Deccani nobles after capturing of Golconda and Bijapur, the nobility actually increased in size, but the area was actually not increasing because this Golconda and Bijapur, this was placed in the Khalisa land or the royal land, where from the proceeds from here was directly going to the royal treasury, and the royal treasury was actually funding the soldiers. So we can say that this Jagirdari crisis, in this case, what was happening is that the Jagirs, the good Jagirs we can say, was mainly given to the favorites of the emperor, but as the nobility was increasing but the area was not increasing, so therefore everyone was trying to grasp the good Jagirs. So this led to one of the important factors that led to the decline was this Jagirdari crisis, which was actually inherently one of the contribution from Aurangzeb. So now, as we can see, this was the religious policy of Aurangzeb. Thank you. So kindly subscribe for more, and I'll definitely upload new content, and thank you.